Hello guys, and welcome back to this channel. If you're new here, I am glad you have chosen to watch this video, and if you do enjoy it, I would be even happier if you subscribe to the channel. Today we are solving another code challenge from Codewars this time, and it's a pretty easy challenge, 7 KU. But reading the description, it came into my mind that for this one there can be actually a really nice solution that can show you different ways of thinking that you can adopt while coding, that's what is nice with coding. You can always be creative. If you're the creative type, you can come up with all kinds of solutions to different problems. So let's read the description. It says, given a string of digits, so you have basically a string but it's made of digits, confirm whatever the sum of all the individual even digits, so divisible by 2, are greater than the sum of all the individual odd digits, so the ones that are not divisible by 2. Always a string of number will be given, so they will be all numbers. You don't have to check that they are all numbers. Now it says, if the sum of even numbers is greater than the odd numbers, return even is greater than odd, right? So basically they want you to return these strings. If the sum of odd numbers is greater than the sum of even numbers, return odd is greater than even. And if the total of both even and odd numbers are identical, return even and odd are the same. So let me just copy this starting function here, and obviously this can be solved in like a multitude of ways, but like I said, reading the description, it taught me about it made me think about trying a solution which I think is pretty nice, even though you probably could write this shorter, but I think it kind of teaches you with how you can juggle with methods and all kind of ideas in coding, which is the nice thing about it. So what I'll do is I will make an object called parity, and what I'll do this one, I will say, wait, here it has to be equal, right? And what I will say is I will have a 0 property that will have the value of 0, and 1 that will also have the value of 0. And what we're doing here is basically in these two properties, we're going to sum up, for the ones that is 0, we're going to sum up all the even numbers here, and for the one that is 1, we're going to add up all the odd numbers, because it's like if you have an odd number and you get that odd number and you divide it by 2, you get something, and then you have a reminder of 1, or a modulo like you call it in JavaScript. So we'll sum up the even numbers here and the odd numbers here, and the way we'll do it, we'll do it through a for loop. So I will make a loop like this, for let, and I have this extension thumbnail which is pretty nice, which recommends you certain things that you could write, so you can just hit tab. And I have for let I equals 0, I less than string length, and then I want an I plus plus. And what I do in here, and what's like kind of a bit clever about this, is because we have made this 0 and 1, we can do something pretty nice. First, what I will do, I will say const current element, and by current element I mean in the loop the current element will be string of I, right? But we need them to be as numbers instead of strings, because when we access string of I, it's gonna give us like a string of just 1 digit, but it's gonna be a string. And if you try to add up string in JavaScript, it's just gonna form a string of the numbers instead of adding them up. So what you want to do is, instead of saying just string of I, which will give you a string that when you add up to other string is going to give you another string, what you want to do here is put a plus in front of it. And when you use a plus in front of a string, if that string is a number, JavaScript is going to transform it to a number type. You could also use number of string of I, right, like this. But I think just putting a plus is cleaner, right? So now what we want to do is we're going to say immediately parity of current element modulo 2 plus equals current element. So what happens here? Now when you have something and then you say plus equal current elements, what JavaScript will do is it will assign to the element that you're assigning to, it will assign its value plus whatever you have on the right. So this expression is the same as saying parity of current element modulo 2 is equal I wanted to get the value of its value plus current element, right? But instead of writing all that, you can just write like this, plus equals current element, and then it will just add current element to the current value of this. And what is this? Parity of current element modulo 2 is going to be dependent of whatever the number is odd or even. So if the current element that we are checking from the number, so the current digit, if it's odd, then it's going to be parity of 1, right? If it's even, it's going to be parity of 0, because if this is even, this modulo 2 is going to be 0, but if it's odd, this modulo 2 is going to be 1. So basically, depending on whatever the number is odd or even, is going to add up the number either to this one or to this one, depending on its parity, right? So now what we have, we're going to have in parity of 0 the sum of all the numbers. After all the loop is finished, we're going to have the sum of all the even numbers and the sum of all the odd numbers. So what we can say is just return, and we're going to make a check, and I'm going to use like a kind of a multiple ternary, but it's not that long, it's just 2 levels deep. So what I'm going to say first, I'm going to say return, and if you don't know how to use the ternary operator, I'm going to link a video here, a tutorial I made about the ternary operator, so you should go watch it, because it's really useful to write some things in a shorter way. I mean, you could use like a lot of ifs and say if that, return that, if that, return that, else if, but you can just use the ternary. So what you're going to say is if the two sums are equals, if they're equal, so if parity of 0 equals to parity of 1, and this is going to be a ternary, then we want to return even and odd are the same, right? And then we have these 2 dots, which would be if they are not equal, what happens. And what we're going to say, if they are not equal, then check whatever parity of 0, so the parity of 0 being the sum of the even numbers, is higher than parity of 1. And if it is higher, then you want to return this, right? And if not, then you want to return this, because it means that this one is greater than the other one, right? So there you go. It seemed like a little bit long. You could have probably written shorter, but I wanted to show it this way because I just wanted to show how you can just be creative about stuff like that, about thinking like making an object with 0 and 1, and then using parity of the modulo that you get from the number. So I think it kind of shows how you can be creative about problems and don't always go with the boring solution, right? So let's try this in there, and test, and it works, and attempt, right? And it all works. So yeah, have another look at it, and if you didn't understand anything from here, please do leave a comment in the comment section, and I will try to answer any questions. Okay, if you did learn something from this video, if you enjoyed something, please give a like and subscribe, and leave me a comments if you want to if you want me to cover any challenge or anything about JavaScript. So yeah, I'll see you next time, and I hope you're having a wonderful day or evening wherever you are. Bye bye for now.